Today on the Morning Edition, not guilty. That is what the owner and manager of the Chelsea Inn Hotel in Anchorage told a judge after both are facing numerous charges. Why the FBI says these arrests will have a big impact on the community. And in the wake of the latest school shooting in Minneapolis, the Anchorage School District is making changes to its safety policy. And today marks 20 years since Hurricane Katrina hit the Gulf Coast, still the most destructive storm in U.S. history. Slowly but surely, the city is still rebuilding as the Morning Edition starts now. Good morning, everyone, on this Friday. Wow, 20 years since Hurricane Katrina. Obviously, you know, Kristen and I, our family ties there. I was a week before Katrina hit, I was in New Orleans.
Yeah, I was still a Category 1 when it came over my house. And that, in addition to the storm of the century in 1993, those were the two key storm systems that actually got me into this industry.
Yeah, and speaking of kind of storms, man, that rain was whirlwind and then the rain coming through tonight.
Yeah, that was our first true fall storm, not winter, fall storm that we've seen so far this season. And those winds, yes, they have been gusting, and we're still favoring many areas across South Central where we're still seeing some of those gusty conditions this morning. Now, in terms of the rainfall, still with us, although it will gradually kind of taper off throughout the day into the afternoon hours, and we will see the return to some sunshine later today. So that is some good news, but of course, we've got to get through this morning. 60 degrees is where we're currently sitting at with those winds gusting up to 30 miles per hour. And we're still favoring some areas of South Central where those winds could be anywhere from about 30 to 50 miles per hour throughout the first part of the day. But you can see many areas as you head through the valley here across East Anchorage out towards the Chugach Range and through Prince William Sound. This is where we're still favoring most of that heavy rainfall. And then as you head through northern parts of the Susitna Valley, we've also got some thunderstorm activity that is occurring this morning. You still want to watch for some of those urban streams, those waterways that could still lead to some minor flooding. In fact, as you head out towards the Susitna Valley, out towards the Yitna River, there is a flood warning that remains in effect until August 30th. So far since midnight, we've seen anywhere from just over 1/10 of an inch of rain to nearly 3/10 of an inch of that rain accumulation. Some harder or higher amounts has occurred as you head into the valley, as well as parts of the Copper River Basin, as well as the Prince William Sound this morning. And yes, those winds have still been gusty. Yesterday evening was some of our strongest winds since midnight. You can see those winds have been gusting anywhere from about 20 to 45 miles per hour. Those will gradually subside through the day. I'll have more on what to expect. And yes, sunshine makes a return. Those details in that 7-day forecast coming up.
Well, we begin with the latest on the Chelsea Inn Hotel raid and the owner and manager who are now facing numerous charges involving drugs. Both pleaded not guilty. The feds say the pair used the hotel to store and distribute drugs. A judge granted pretrial release to Hyung Soo, a man listed in charging documents as an owner of the hotel after he was arrested Friday. The manager of the hotel, Chantel Fields, is still in jail pending a detention hearing, which is scheduled for next Friday. Court documents say the FBI and Anchorage police worked together in a years-long investigation into the Spinard Hotel.
The seizure of the Chelsea Inn Hotel, along with the arrests and federal charges, will have a significant impact on the Anchorage community, not only with the disruption and flow of illegal narcotics, but also the violence and instability that followed drug crimes.
Federal prosecutors say Sue and Fields had drug dealers live at the hotel and directed people to buy illegal narcotics there. The Anchorage Police Department's former Deputy Director of Community Relations resigned after being accused of shoplifting. Christopher Barraza, in his role with the department when the alleged theft took place on August 19th at the South Anchorage Target, officials did not say what was stolen, but that an investigation showed Barraza wearing an APD-issued jacket at the time of the alleged theft, though they don't believe he was serving in an official capacity. Barraza is being charged with shoplifting, and he was in his position with APD for less than a year. Alaska state troopers recovered the body of a Bering Sea boater who disappeared in May. 65-year-old Albert Williams and 72-year-old Samuel Shavings were on board a boat that sank off Nunivak Island. Williams's body was recovered May 28th. Troopers now confirm Shavings has also been found dead. The Department of Public Safety says beachcombers found the body. Well, school safety is top of mind nationwide, and Anchorage schools are making big changes to how they train for emergencies. As Lauren Maxwell explains, the district is moving away from controversial active shooter drills and shifting to a new standard protocol that focuses on safety without frightening students.
In 2018, East High School held a controversial active shooter drill. Officers shot blanks in the hallways while students practiced barricading doors and hiding wherever they could. It's a scenario the district says
we're not going to do that in our schools.
Won't be happening again. Moving forward, ASD is changing from an active shooter training called ALICE to a standard response protocol, or SRP, that can be used in different situations.
We don't have this as kind of a standalone thing that just deals with a threat, and then we have a fire drill, then we have an earthquake drill or a hazmat situation. It's all contained under one protocol.
SRP includes 5 actions: hold, secure, lockdown, evacuate, and shelter that students and staff will practice twice a year. The district says the required drills for this new protocol are meant to be a lot less frightening for students. There's no instruction on fighting back or what happened once in 2018, the use of blank weapons during an active shooter drill. Also, drills will be tailored to different age groups, including younger children.
For a lockdown drill, we don't have to talk about, a bad person walking to the classroom with a weapon or anything like that. We want to talk about, okay, if we hear this over the intercom, here's the actions we take.
ASD says standardizing language and procedures across the district will help to keep everyone safe. Lauren Maxwell, Alaska's news source.
Alaskan hospital leaders are also training on what to do in case an active shooter were to take action on campus. And this month, Providence Alaska Medical Center hosted an armed aggressor or active shooter training. Georgina Fernandez has this week's Health Watch.
This is what a typical workday may look like at the Providence Alaska Medical Center Inpatient Center Pharmacy. But instead of just focusing on prescriptions,
start exercise!
They're preparing in case an active shooter scenario were to ever occur.
So we have a team coming in and training training folks throughout the state to be certifiers in run, hide, fight exercises for active shooter exercises.
Gun!
You're looking right now at a mock active shooter scenario.
All right, let's see where everybody went.
That PMCA hosted this month with participating hospitals from Kodiak, Southeast, and Valdez, where Providence K-9 trainer,
Not a lot of hiding spots.
Sergeant David Gipler, is posing as a mock shooter on campus who's upset about a situation involving a loved one, and staff members
Nowhere else to hide in here.
have to act quick.
The first priority is our safety. We're going to do the run, hide, fight. We will secure patients the best we can in hope that the active shooter will be quickly subdued.
In this drill scenario,
In exercise!
in just 3 minutes, everyone safely made it out the room.
It's really important for facilities to not only be prepared for the worst, but also to feel supported in that they have the skills and abilities that they need in order to react in case there's an emergency.
And understand what went well
What about law enforcement? Anybody think calling them directly?
and what could have been done if the scenario were to ever occur. Because many emergency situations
Natural disasters, whether it's earthquakes or volcanoes, we always want to practice and prepare just in case the event does happen.
is the preventive steps they take beforehand
So I think that makes it even more important to bring awareness.
that can make a difference. Georgina Fernandez, Alaska's news source.
KUAC is cutting services after losing $1.2 million in federal funding. The Fairbanks station says 2 channels and several FM programs will be eliminated. General Manager Gretchen Gordon says viewers will miss the programming, but the cuts keep the station's mission alive. She adds public broadcasters across Alaska face similar struggles, pushing them to work more closely together.
We're investigating even more ways to collaborate. We have 2 meetings a week now with general managers across the state. General managers at small stations are asking for help to procure some programming. You know, do we have a live program from 3 to 5 that we can share with another station that perhaps is in even a more rural area? Because they're looking at an even greater funding, representative of a funding cut to their budgets.
Gordon says there will be a webinar about the future of public broadcasting in Alaska on September 9th. Up next, the winds were whipping in South Central, tearing down trees and knocking over trash cans. Some residents across areas were without power.
And while winds remain with us today, we will see some of that activity subside through the remainder of your Friday. I'll have more on that. But first, a sunrise, 6:45 in Anchorage, 5:51 in Juneau. Your full forecast is next.
Back on your Friday, if you were out and about yesterday in and around Anchorage, well, you probably felt those high winds, or maybe you even heard it. It did cause some widespread power outages. It canceled events. Winds more than 60 miles an hour reached the Alaska State Fair. At least 2 performances were called off, and several rides also put on pause as a precaution. Aaron, good morning. Those winds were certainly whipping. My daughter was outside, and she just came in and said, it's windy.
Yeah, we saw areas out towards Potter Marsh as you head towards the hillside, seeing gusts up to about 80 miles per hour. And we're still holding on to some of those gusty conditions this morning. Those will gradually subside later this afternoon into the evening. Of course, this morning we continue to hold on to some of that widespread rain across South Central. But the good news is it will gradually taper off. We're already seeing western areas of South Central with that rain coming to an end. By this afternoon, we'll actually see some sunshine making a return in the forecast. We got 50s and 60s. You can see most of the rain pushing into parts of the Mat-Su Valley as well as out towards Prince William Sound and then eventually building into the Copper River Basin. We will see again the return to some sunshine, but of course the first half of the day will favor these gusty conditions as well as the rain showers sticking around. If you're heading to the Alaska State Fair later today, you will see much improved weather to be expected. Of course, the first couple of hours of the fair will still favor those windy conditions as well as some rain showers. Notice as you head just east of about Chugiak, as you head into parts of the valley out towards the Palmer interchange, we are still holding on to some of the heavier rain downpours this morning. So just take it easy on those roadways. We're seeing most of this rain shifting to the east, northeast, eventually building into the interior, where we're also watching some wind advisories that go into effect later this afternoon into the evening, where we could see gusts up to 40 miles per hour. Now, southeast, still holding on to that sunshine and that warmth with dry conditions to persist well into next week, which means daily highs for you will continue to warm into the 60s, 70s, and even some 80s in the forecast. Now, as you head out towards the western Aleutians, this is the next storm system we're watching that's going to bring rain and winds building across the Aleutians today. And then into your Saturday, you'll see that rain spreading across areas of southwest Alaska. That will eventually bring some light rain showers here across South Central as we welcome in next week. But the rain that's with us today, that eventually tapers off, pulls off towards the east, northeast. Again, later this afternoon, we could still see some spotty activity, but the sunshine does build back in across South Central. So really the second half of the Alaska State Fair today will bring much nicer conditions. And as we welcome in our Saturday, we're going to favor pleasant weather. In fact, those temperatures certainly going to feel fallish outside as we see those afternoon highs likely staying in the 50s and lower 60s. But as we welcome in our Saturday evening on into Sunday, clouds once again increase, and we'll see a chance for some showers building back in across South Central as we welcome in our Sunday. So we're getting kind of into this fallish weather pattern as these storms continue to spread across the state. Still expected to see isolated areas as you head out towards Prince William Sound, Thompson Pass, where we could see several rounds of some rain that could bring up to 1 to 2.5 inches of rainfall. The rest of South Central, just a few hundredths of an inch to nearly half an inch to be expected, but nothing like what we did see yesterday in terms of the winds and the rain. It will gradually taper off throughout the day. So if you are heading into the Alaska State Fair later today, just be mindful that we're still seeing some flood watches as you head out towards the valley. There is a flood warning for the Yentna River with a crest of 22 feet expected. That's why we continue continue to hold on to some of those flooding conditions, and that remains in effect through Friday evening into our Saturday. 58 degrees, but we're watching a chance of showers Sunday. But if you're heading to the Alaska State Fair, as it officially closes Monday, we're talking about a high of 62 degrees. May see a shower or two, but talking about pleasant conditions as we start off next week.
Yeah, last few days. Good reminder. Thanks, Aaron. And as we mentioned, those high winds throughout Anchorage last night. Joe Allgood reports from Bear Valley to the hillside. Crews say the conditions were a perfect recipe for downed trees and outages.
Well, it's a terrible, terrible day to be a trash can or a piece of patio furniture or anything that's not nailed down, because the wind up here on the hillside is incredible. I mean, it's crazy. That was the scene at Bear Valley, where winds coming over the mountains made it hard to stand straight at some points and gave some folks nearby a hard time. Turns out there is such a thing as too much wind for a kite, as well as the state fair.
We make appropriate conditions based on the best interest of safety. Thus, we did temporarily close a few rides, as well as one performance of Cirque Maceo this afternoon in the interest of abundance of caution and safety.
Winds coursed across town as well, knocking over trash cans, branches, and even whole trees. A downed tree on a power line knocked out power for about 1,500 people along Huffman and O'Malley roads in Anchorage. That outage was restored about 2 hours later. Still, power companies advise folks to stay prepared and ready for any similar outages as a result of the gusts.
There's still leaves all over the trees, so it almost acts like a sail, if you will, that can come under a tree and lift it up and pull it over. That doesn't always happen, but it can happen in some types of winds.
You know, unfortunately, we're not in a place in space where we just have an easy reset button that we can hit to get the power back on. Our line crews have to get out there and manually patrol the lines and check for any of those hazards or issues that might be causing the outage.
Well, I'm gonna try to get this umbrella in check. Back to you guys. Joe Allgood, Alaska's news source.
Wow. Well, as of this morning, we checked, MEA had 476 customers still without power, and Chugach Electric had 3.
Thanks for listening to our podcast. Click subscribe so you can get the latest podcasts from Alaska's news source automatically, and stay up to date with breaking news and in-depth reporting available for free 24/7 with the Alaska's news source app.